Coach's View. On this program, we interact with coaches right across Antigua and Barbuda. Have a chat with them about what they're doing, why they coach, and what's going on in their respective sports, and coaching right across Antigua and Barbuda. But before we introduce our two guests this afternoon, we're going to tell you that ACB Caribbean is our platinum sponsor for this program. We also have sponsoring us Plumbing and Electrical Limited. For all your electrical and plumbing needs, make sure you visit them out there bordering on the Herbert's Main Road. And there is Seco Pharmacy for all your pharmaceutical and medicinal needs. You check them out right there on High Street. And Zen's Body and Skin Care. So do check them out. They are our sponsors and they keep us going, so make sure you support them. We're going to introduce our two guests this afternoon. We have on the further end of the table is Oslin Pigeon Gregory, a well-known basketball coach here in Antigua and Barbuda. Works with the Ministry of Sports. Very, very good job. And assisting him very, very well is Guy Yearwood Jr. Guy Yearwood Jr. Obviously, we know the senior very well. And we just want to welcome you to Coach's View.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Right. And we're going to go straight into our coaching skill for today. Just have a look and at what we do is that we have 10 coaching skills for our coaches out there and the people who are listening and viewing. And what we do, we go through them over and over just so that our coaches can understand some of the skills that we need in terms of making our job more efficient. And today we're looking at how to explain. And that is very important. Coaches have to explain. They have to do that, and they have to do that very well, because that is how they are going to make sure that the people who they're coaching, boys and girls, men and women, understand exactly what is it that they need to do. And so the first point in explaining is plan what to say. So that's the first thing when you want to explain something. Make sure you plan what you want to say so that you don't have to fumble when the people are ready to hear. You don't remember, you don't have anything to say. Plan what you have to say. That's the first part. Secondly, gain attention before starting. Make sure everyone is paying attention, everyone is attentive and listening. Then point number 3 in how to explain, keep it simple. Especially when we're dealing with children. We don't want to be talking for half an hour and then when you finish you don't even remember the first thing you said. So plan what to say, gain their attention, keep it simple, and the fourth one, invite questions and check for understanding. So once we finish explaining, we make sure that they understand what is it that we just explained by asking them a simple question. And what is it that we said we're going to do today again? Oh, coach, you said that we're going to practice shooting. And they say, good. Then we know that they got it. And so those are the 4 points that we look at in how to explain. So gentlemen, I really want to say very good having you guys here. And we're going to start with you, Mr. Gregory. You've been in the Ministry of Sports now for how long?
21 years.
21 years. And tell people who are listening here and who are watching us, why you went into coaching? Just tell us why you went into coaching.
Number one, as you know, I was a former player, national player. And, I just decided, well, after having numerous jobs like in the airline industry and stuff like that, I never felt like I fit in, and I decided, well, let me try to get into coaching and try to give back. But it goes beyond just giving back. I started to develop the passion, and I started to see, well, kids have been neglected, the sport have been neglected, coaches taking, shortcut and stuff like that, and I just decided, well, let me do this and see how it worked out. And it worked out fine. I started to get, emotionally attached to the work, to the coaching, and physically attached to the coaching, and then I started to get dedicated by watching other coaches and see how they do their program. I can take you, for example, or Ian Tittle, or even Shafto, because my stuff is based upon how other coaches work and see the dedication that they put in. And I always want to be like that coach. I always want to be like that player. Even Michael Jordan, I know he put in a lot, and I've seen a lot of players here put in a lot, and I've seen the benefit. So I always wanted to be like that.
Mr. Haywood, tell us your story. Why coaching?
Well, sports has always been a part of my life from a very early age. I mean, I can remember the first time I got to play American football. That was like one of the first things I played with my older brother, who was 10 years older than me, playing with him and his friends. And over the years, I've played various different sports. Outside of basketball, I've also played American football, rugby, volleyball. I was a wrestling champion at one point. There are a lot of things in sports, so I got a lot from being part of so many different sports, and it's helped me and it's prepared me a lot well for life. So I decided, I was teaching for a while before I actually committed to coaching, but while I was teaching, I was coaching. And after I decided to change the direction I was going, I decided that coaching would have been better. It'll allow me to get to the kids in a way where because when you're teaching them, a lot of time you're teaching them something they don't really want to learn. But you figure, well, with sports, it's something that they're going to want to do. So it's a lot easier to tap into their minds and to get them aware of certain things and prepare them for life in the future. You know what I mean? So, as he said, it's a way to help give back. And it's fun,
We know as coaches, we know it is fun, we know we're teaching life skills, and we see the positive impact that coaching has on the young boys and girls. But tell me, Gregory, are we taken seriously?
No, I don't think so.
Tell me, talk to me about that.
The fact is that I don't know how to say this, but the coaches, we are one of the pillars of the community.
Tell us your story. Tell us from Pigeon Gregory experience. Tell us what you see, because other coaches have other experiences.
Right. Well, my experience is it wasn't really all that at first, because I've been working in certain communities and I haven't gotten the support. And without that support from that community, the school, the parents, your program ain't going to go nowhere. So I decided, well, I need to transfer into that community. I've heard of you guys, and I heard you help out all the other sporting events in the community. And I said, I want to be a part of that community. I want to work in that community. So that's when I asked for that transfer and then take off from there. But my experiences as a coach, as I said before, it didn't start off well, and then you got to build gradually, watching other coaches, see how they prepare, and it worked out fine for me.
What about you, Guy? You think we're taking serious? When you look, you get up every morning, you make sure that you go, you prepare. The little boys, the little girls, they come, you put in the hard work, then they go home. When they go to play, you hear good things about them. But do you think that as a coach, and it doesn't have to be an individual or an establishment, right across Antigua, do you think that the coaches are taken seriously?
I think it's kind of a mixed bag, if you can understand. You know what I mean? Like, I think that Antiguans take sports seriously, but what we don't do is we don't respect what it takes to get the sports to a certain level. So a lot of us coaches, we don't have all the resources that we need in order to achieve the kind of changes that they expect to see. You know what I mean? But yet we're still expected to go out every day and do our jobs. So to me, that's not really taking it seriously per se. I guess but at the end of the day, the people that are sending us out, they have an agenda that they have to fulfill. So they think they're taking it seriously, but they're not looking at what is necessary for us to do our jobs necessary, and making sure that they provide that for us so that things can happen at a better rate.
I think we are taken for granted, by the wider community and stuff like that, because we put in a lot. I've seen coaches out there 6 o'clock in the morning field, changing the way how their kids think. The kids think, just doing the work out there, and I think that we're not taken for granted. We're taken for granted. We're not taken serious. That's what I should have said in the first. There's more that can be done. As for me, when you talk about community, I got the support of the community that I work in. So I can say, as he says, a mixed bag. Outside of that community, which is Liberta, I'm not taken as seriously as, but Liberta, they take me serious. So it's a kind of mixed bag.
The other component where we have problems with coaching and sports, and I know they know under one ministry. You have the Ministry of Education and Sports. I also believe there should be more buy-in. I think just like how a student have to go to school and they have to do maths and English, I believe that sporting component should be tying there somewhere. Personally, I don't like the fact that sports is treated as an extra curriculum.
Right.
I don't think sports is an extra curriculum. I think sports is education, and I think sports and education should be separated and just use education, because sports is a part of education.
Yes.
And I would like to hear your views on that. Maybe that is where we're wrong. Maybe we need to look at it differently and make sports a mandate where a parent can say to a coach, my daughter isn't playing basketball because she didn't do well in maths. How about if she didn't do well in sports, the maths teacher come and say, look, she's not going to do maths. How would the parents take it? I would like to hear your views.
And that's one of the things that I always try to educate my parents. Stop saying, because someone not doing better in maths, you're going to take them away from basketball. And as you say, it should be separated. And they think, well, sports hamper education, which I don't find. All the research that I've done, I've never find nothing. As a matter of fact, it enhances education. So I try to educate my parents, and I try to make, like for instance, I would say, look at the kids. Let's take a good look at the kids. See who study. You take away from basketball and see who stay in the basketball, and those that stay, because we have that stuff in school. Those that stay in basketball, let's see if they do better. And most of the times they do better in their exams. So as you say, it's just that we have to educate the parents.
Guy?
Well, I mean, personally, I think our education system, like we have a very outdated education system right now. I mean, maybe England is still doing what we're doing as far as CXCs and all that stuff, but when you look at the rest of Europe, they've already, a lot of countries, especially the Nordic countries, they've moved past testing and all of this stuff, because they've come to realize that humans are more well-rounded than just how they can answer on a test, right? So if you really want to get the education system going, not only should sports be mandated or be mandatory, meaning like every child should be participating in some sport, they should also be doing some kind of art, whether it's music or dance or anything. I mean, in Antigua, we love to focus on you have to be doctor and lawyer and this and that, but there's more to life than just being a doctor and a lawyer. You know what I mean? And you need more well-rounded children, and a lot of that comes from sports. With sports, you have fitness and health, which is part of when they're trying to get educated. Sometimes, you know what I mean, like right now we have this thing with special needs being a big part of education, figuring out who has special needs and who doesn't. How about we get the kids to run off some of the energy off in the sun, and then when they come into class now they're ready to sit down and listen and do work.
Totally agree.
You understand?
And I have always asked the kids myself, how do you feel sometime when you're in the classroom and you feel sleepy and tired and worn out, and you haven't done anything for the day? is because your lack of sports, some kind of sporting activity. As you were saying about mandate, I think it should be mandated. Because, and I think our headmaster and headmistress should be educated, because we have headmasters and headmistresses anti-sport. As soon as you walk in the school, they say, no, we're not playing any sports. And they don't understand how important sport is to their
Now, two things that I want to mention on, and I want us to have a look at this. The young man Fleming that won the goal at the Carifta Games, I understand he have 19 subjects.
Wow.
Now, I can guarantee you, if we were to ask him, what would you give up, your 19 subjects or the Carifta gold medal? Which one you think he would give up?
The subject.
The subject.
Because with that, right, he can use that sport and go anywhere he wants. He can use that medal because of the popularity he gained and all that. He can use that and go anywhere or do anything he wanted to do. So as you say, sport is as important as education.
The other thing, and you spoke about that, I always have an issue with the policy, the school policy. Who set the rules? What I can't understand is that all schools, all government primary schools, starts at 3, at 9, ends at 3. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
All secondary schools starts at 8, finishes at
1:30.
1:30. Who handed that down? That came from the ministry.
That came from the
That's
ministry.
policy.
Yeah.
So no principal can turn up today and say, look, school start at 10 and finish at 4.
4, right.
That's not going to cut it. The ministry says, hey, you can't change that.
Right.
Why is it that the principal can decide if the school participates in sports? Shouldn't that be a policy coming on from the ministry?
Right.
To say, hey, each school must participate in, and you give the minimum and
Right.
say, minimum 5 sporting events organized by the ministry or whatever number. But you put that and say, you must. This is a part of it. This is just like saying school start at 9 o'clock.
Right.
You can't change that. If they want to do more, fine, but this is the minimum.
Right.
Why is it that principals are still determined whether or not the school participates in sports?
Because as the ministry is not coming down on them. I mean, because one headmistress told me, oh, they're not participating this in sports. I said, well, I'm going to talk to the ministry and I'm going to let them know that this is what you say and look out for a call from them. So when I walk out the office, no, she called me back and said they're playing. So the ministry itself don't know the power that they carry. I mean, as I was saying, they should come down on the schools and let them know. That's why we appoint a coach at your school to do basketball, do cricket, do football. If you are saying that they can't perform their duty, then I'm going to have a problem with that. You understand?
What are some of the challenges you face in coaching? You go to coach every day. What are some of the things as a coach guy that you would like to see change so that coaching in general, whether it's in the schools, whether it is in the community, could have a bigger impact? What are some of the things that you would like to see change?
I mean, you say in general, but for me, I have personal things I need to change.
Right.
So, for example, I coach at Parish Secondary. I'm supposed to be coaching at Parish Primary. There's no basketball court in Parish for me to coach them up there. Right? So I can only manage to deal with the secondary because a lot of them live in Parham, and I can take a couple of them down to Parham and practice down there. So you have a facility problem in a lot of the cases.
Right.
Right, having, for example, having basketball court near the school helps us immensely. You understand? You have, so I have that problem, and well, I guess at this point maybe it would help if the schools started to have their own equipment, because we have a hard time getting equipment from who we're supposed to be getting equipment from. You know what I mean? So we're always scrambling around for equipment. So things like that need to be addressed. The school bus system, right? So at one point I was coaching down by Cobb's Cross, And just to get the bus drivers to take the kids from the school down to the basketball court, which is along the same road, was a big issue. So different things like that. I don't know if they need to set up certain buses specifically for sports or what it is, but that kind of aspect would help for me. And then even some of the kids sometimes even have the shoes.
Well, as a coach, that's one of the tasks that we, the coaches, we're gonna have to play a parent role. But challenges for me, equipment from, my boss. I asked a question yesterday. How do you guys make plan in terms of sport, in terms of equipment? Is it every 2 years? We get new equipment every year. We get new equipment, and that was a question that could never be answered. And it's kind of hard for you as a coach. Want to see your program succeed and move on, have to use that same money that you're getting paid to buy equipment. So that's one of the challenges for me. The other challenges is we're not innovative enough. I'm talking about the ministry and the coaches. We should be more innovative. You understand? And because most of the coaches, a lot of the coaches that I know, have a low self-esteem at work because they're not getting what they want to get. And some of these guys are having a hard time in their personal life. And you're asking them now to take, 25% of their salary to get new equipment. So that's the biggest challenge we have. The other challenge, I think coaches should have more input in planning, in the ministry planning. Too many times you see the coordinator don't come and ask the coach as well, what do you think about this? We should implement this, and they're not taking the advice from the coach. Maybe I can talk from my department, really, because as I say, I like one of the unit that I watch is cricket, and they look like they're well organized and they're well prepared and stuff like that. But in my unit, I think we should have more say. Like you're planning for All-Star, you're planning for the season.
Boy, Gregory, I tell you what, boy, I had some of the cricket coaches here, boy, and boy, they wouldn't agree with you at all.
They wouldn't agree. Well, as I said, for what I see, maybe I'm not standing up for 15, 20 minutes watching them, but when I pass, I would see Shafto doing his stuff up there, getting prepared, and I see you most of the time getting prepared.
I guess that when you look, Gregory, if someone was supposed to come out by Liberta one day and see you playing your trade, if they were to judge off that, they would think that basketball, nice, look organized, this man look like he have his thing tied down. That's Gregory doing his thing. And I guess the cricket coaches, they probably are saying the same thing too, that they go and they put in their work. But just like you having an issue where there's no consultation, where we're inside where the operations take place, you don't know what is going on, you just get directions, and you're the one out there in the field, and you know that, hey, but this can't work. So I think that it is a similarity. So looking at someone and seeing what they are doing may not reflect
the bigger picture.
How things are. It may just reflect that this person is organized. This person is committed. But in terms of moving the whole unit and moving the sports in the department, because there's no cohesiveness. And I think sometimes we just got to be very, 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 very careful.
Yeah, and to me that has to do with the leadership a lot of the times. Okay, so I used to run a special needs school. And the way I played the special needs school was the same way I played my double bantam rugby team, which we won 2 championships in a row. Okay, the second year I became captain, and I played a support role because I wasn't necessarily the best player on my team. I was the smartest one though. So what I did was I filled in for what these guys needed to do. And that to me is how the sports department should be run. It should be that the coaches say this is what we want to do, and then our coordinators and the directors, they go out of their way to make it happen for us, as opposed to them trying to dictate to us what needs to happen and not realizing that, well, the pieces aren't, the resources aren't there to make that happen how you guys want. You know what I mean? And then it just becomes a thing where, as he said, the coaches just lose their focus, lose their momentum, they lose their drive to try and do more. You know what I mean? So to me, it's that management style might need to fix in order for us to move ahead, because a lot of things have changed from how it used to be. You know what I mean? We all have to do with new distraction. The kids have so much distraction with cell phone and all this stuff as well. You know what I mean? So a lot of things need to be dealt with in a different way. They know about so much other things. So, you know, when they see we're having a tournament and, you know, maybe there's no prize announced, that can have an effect, because maybe if you just give them something small, that alone will just make them want to come out and do it. But a lot of them don't understand that. So,
but that's the same thing that I've been trying to say for years now. I'm like, okay, at least give them a certificate saying that, oh, Mr. Guy Yearwood from Artist Comprehensive participate in the 2022 inter-school basketball program, because you know in our league we don't take stats, and you can only give 2 persons can win the prize, or 1 person can win the prize, the MVP and the championship. So we have to go, and that's one of the things that we were discussing yesterday. We have to go above and beyond that, because guess what's going to happen? Are you looking for all scorers, or are you looking for rebounders, defensive players that can steal the ball, that can pass the ball? And we have to start from there, Flipper. We have to start from there, implementing the stats in school and let the other players in them know how important the other stats are in the game. And it would go a long way, as I said, to give them a certificate. And as one of the things that I always say to the schools that win the championship, why don't we put up a billboard with them in the city, let everybody know? Don't you think a parent would feel proud to see their kid on the billboard? Don't you think another child would say, I want to be that next year? And there's simple things that we can do to enhance the sports, and we just dragging our feet.
The other thing that I want to talk about, and I want us to have a little discussion on this. As coaches working with young people, how do we measure the importance of development, proper skills, proper understanding, teaching the game, as to winning? How do we weigh the balance? Because some coaches are about winning. Mm-hmm. They don't really care. At the end of the day, when they win the championship, if any student continue to play when they finish school or once they win, how do we balance that?
You have to nurture a good person first, and then you nurture a winning athlete second. Your focus always has to be on developing a good younger human being. You can't prioritize winning over them having proper mannerisms and being able to function in society in a proper way, right? And that's, I think, is a big mistake that might be happening, right? We have too much people focus on winning. Some of them really need to learn how to behave more than anything, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like I said, how we deal with them influences how they're going to be years down the line. I never knew that after becoming rugby captain, I would be applying what I did as a captain later on in my life. You understand? So these little things are important. How my coaches dealt with me when I was younger, that's how I deal with them. I remember when I was in grade 8, that's when I was at my peak in basketball. And the coach used to come outside and play basketball with us during break, because it was at a school where he was working at the school too. You know what I mean? And that had a great impact on us and who we are today. So you always have to nurture that first before anything else. And a lot of times now, it's really the athlete that has to decide how far they go with the sport anyways. Because they're the ones that I can tell them what they have to do, but they're the ones that have to do it and have to want to do it and have to do it more. So at the end of the day, that should be your main focus, because if nothing else, at least you know you've turned out a better person in society.
But it strikes me, if I talk to 5 coaches, 3 out of 4 will tell me that they're into development. They are development coaches. And then when you ask them, your program, show me a program, they're not developing. they're looking to win this year, and then everything fall apart for the next 2 years. Well, my program is not like that. I started, develop from grade 3, come up. Even at Liberty School, I have 3 teams in Liberty School right now. 1 boy team and 3 girls team, because 2 boys team and 3 girls team, because grade 4 have their own team, grade 5 have their own team, grade 6 have their own team. That grade 6 team, when they left grade 5, take their spot, grade 4, and then when they go to All Saints Secondary, because 90% of them gonna go to All Saints Secondary, they fall in the development team, which All Saints got 5 teams right now, 3 boys and 2 girls. So it's not all about winning, and maybe that's why our program, and Mr. Yewood is trying to do basically that same program too. So that's why our program, even the COVID, most of the coaches say, we get a big hit, I'm going to lose a lot of players. I lose players, but players are there to replace.
Yeah.
So you say how we balance development and winning. Development first, and then you're going to enjoy the win.
Yeah.
And you as a coach now are going to have to keep that group, and you're going to have to teach them well. Your day is going to come, and most of my players buy into that. You have to sell your program. You have to let them know day will come that they will win, and win for years too, if you start now and put in now.
Should there be, because I write programs, I write junior cricket programs, and one of the things that I always see is that every time you speak to a coach with a particular age group, they have a different idea as to what should be taught at that group, and how we should be coaching this group. Should there be, for instance, you have the Ministry of Sports, you have the basketball program. Should there be a curriculum for the different age groups that all the coaches follow? So if guys in Atlas Comprehensive teaching all the 13s, and Gregory is in Arts doing all the 13s, you're teaching them the same thing.
Yeah.
Should there be a curriculum? Because how you teach them may be different, but what you teach at on the 13s, for instance, and I'm just saying, if you're at on the 13s and you say, look, the first 2 weeks of the basketball season, we're teaching them dribbling and shooting. I'm just saying, if Gregory is doing that at All Saints, you're doing that at Arthur. So if there's a switch in terms of coaches or players make a transfer, he just fits right back into. Should we have something similar? Because coaches have different styles.
Yeah,
but in terms of what you teach, shouldn't there be a guideline as to who we teach what, so that we all on the same page?
We all may have different ideology. All coaches have different system, but the fundamentals never change. Right? And I said yes, because too many times kids transfer, kids go to different school, and they say, no, Mr. Gregory don't teach me that, that don't teach me that. So I think it's a we all should, as you say, the ministry should hand out, okay, or the coaches get together and they can plan their own stuff. You understand? Rather than the ministry come and hand down guidelines, we can get together, because it's a unit, and say, okay, this is the plan, guys. Because let's face it, I'm not hitting any coaches, but some coaches, as you said, because they're so obsessed with winning, they don't teach you fundamentals.
Could that be?
Yes.
Could that be because there is no guidelines?
There's no
Could that be because, look, that is what they know. But if you give them something and say, look, on the 13th, this is what at this time, by week 4, they should be able to at least shoot or pass. Because I was playing with some of your children, and the very important thing that hit me was that as soon as they lost the ball, the first thing that came to their mind, defense.
Right.
They all ran back. And you actually could see, hey, they didn't wake up this morning and did that. Somebody taught them that.
Yes.
So they understood at that early age, listen, if we don't defend, you understand, then we cannot attack because we won't get the ball.
Right.
We have to defend, stop the offense, so we can stay ahead. And I thought, somebody is doing some work here.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen any little children, as soon as they lose the ball, they want to come back at you and try, and they all ran back.
Yeah.
And they set up, and there was one girl, I don't know if she's the captain, she's saying, no, you move around. And I'm like, wow. This look like somebody was doing some work. This looked like a plan. Something was organized.
I'm not calling the names or the school or anything, but I have a particular player come to my program and they want to play for my school and stuff like that. And the age is 15, going on 16. And then when she started to play, or he started to play with the under 16, she's wondering what happened. Then I put her with the under 13, or him with the under 13, and the under 13 whooping. So she's like, or he's like, how come they're 12 and 11 and 10 and whooping me, and I'm 16? So, which come back to what you say, that person haven't been really given the fundamentals, you know. Even the layups, the 1-2 layup, you got the 10-year-old, the 9-year-old, the 7-year-old doing the 1-2 layup, and that individual still traveling at the age of 15 going on 16. Which come back to where you said there should be a guideline. So exactly. You see that person that leave that school and come to my school, they should be on, not really on the same par, but at least they understand the fundamentals.
But guy, if there should be a curriculum, who should be the one that is writing that?
Well, okay, first thing, if we're talking about curriculum, right? As a former teacher, that when you work in the government school, they give you a curriculum that is very specific.
Right.
Week to week, they tell you what to do. And for a lot of teachers, I think that becomes a problem. Especially now that we have that policy where the child moves ahead regardless. It leaves little room for them to fix any issues.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe their reading is they can read, but they can't read well enough, and you might need to take a couple of weeks to deal with that.
So you may have to move on without
solidifying that
this
skill.
guy is not ready for for week 3.
So from that perspective, I'm really of putting in a whole specific curriculum. But with that said, now, I definitely see the benefits where within each sport, some kind of program for each coach that encompasses like throughout the whole year, and based on if the season goes as it should, you know, I mean, we just had COVID, right. So we can see that anything can happen. Something like that should be developed. And that is where, because a lot of the coaches, there's training there, but it's not necessarily the training that they need for what they need to do, where they need to improve. You know what I mean? So a lot of us are just former athletes, and we're just turning around and trying to remember how we were coached and trying to bring that back and regurgitate that. Whereas there's a lot of new ways of training certain skills, ways of training certain understandings of the sport, ways of training the conditioning of the sport, and a lot of us need to be updated on that. You know what I mean? And even with that, that's a hard thing to do, because a lot of the older coaches are very hard-headed. They already feel they know everything there is to know about the sport. You know what I mean? So it might be a thing where I guess we can use it for the new coaches. Maybe over time we can gradually implement a system, because there's two aspects to coaching. You have your knowledge and your understanding of the sport, but then there's also your ability to deal with the children, which is way more difficult than the knowledge of the sport.
Yes.
Knowing the sport is easy. Knowing how to deal with all kind of children who have all kind of different issues and all kind of different needs, that is really where a lot of the challenge and a lot of the faltering with the coaches come from. And all of that needs to kind of be addressed, you know what I mean, in a way that the coaches can take it seriously. You know what I mean? Because as I said, they've put us through some training with that, but a lot of the coaches, they don't take it seriously because, for example, the person that's teaching them isn't really a coach. So they're just explaining things to you that they can't really
Demonstrate.
and relate to. You know what I mean? So the information that we're getting as coaches, it could be a lot more sharper, which would help us to uplift our sports in a more well-rounded way. You know what I mean? But if we're really trying to uplift our sports, we have to realize that a lot of that comes from the leagues, you know. Because when you look at basketball in the States, the NBA is the top of the top, and they are the ones putting money into the schools, into the high schools, into the primary schools, into the colleges, that creates the kind of level of basketball development that you have. You understand? So we would need like Ababa and all the different leagues to actually step up with what they're doing with their leagues to make the league more profitable. Because at the end of the day, we live in a world where it's about profit, you know. So if you look at why they might be faltering with sports, is because maybe there's not enough money generated from sports itself to even warrant putting all of this into the sport. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, that's what everybody look at. How much money we get out of it? How many players do we get that go overseas, that go into college, go into the NBA, and do they come back and do they bring back anything to help us back here so that our sports can grow? We can't even, off the top of your head, I'm sure you can't name one or two people. You know what I mean? And that is where a lot of the holes in the sports for us at this lower level is happening. You know what I mean? Because we need a Baba, and you guys need the cricket board and all them to step in and to try and help out. And they need to be successful on their level. They need to have the national team going away and playing all kind of stuff. A Baba needs to be, you know, you're coming in, you're paying maybe $30 because you're coming and sitting on a nice seat, in a nice court, you have nice concessions there for them. I looked it up. How do NBA make money? Concessions, the tickets, licensing, and merchandising. That's all any of these leagues need to be doing to make money. If you're making money off of those 4 things, you just need to make more of that, and then you have a whole league, right? A lot of them don't even pay attention to that. So this is where we have a lot of holes in our ship, and we can get it going on the water.
Well, go back to the coaches. Do you think that the coaches are the one that? Yes, I think that we have a responsibility to make sure that our policy, because you have your system, right? But at the other hand, we're still working for someone. And do you think that the ministry should oblige to us in terms of trying to get programs for us to help enhance?
But do they give you a program?
No.
Exactly. No, because at the end of the day, and I like Guy's point, is that you do not want to put a specific time on a particular skill. Because basically what the coaches are doing the what to coach. You understand? Because the coaches, because of the training, they know how to coach.
Right.
So what you actually want the planning is the what to coach. And so, for instance, here is it that you guys are teaching in the primary schools. And look, okay, in the primary schools, first we want to be able to catch. We want to be able to pass. We want to be able to dribble. If we look at those 3 skills, okay, you might find some of them in 3 weeks they can do all of that. But you may find some can do 1, some can do 2. The important thing is that how do I deal with that? You may say, okay, you know what? We are going to have a little game, but these 2 who can't catch well, I'm going to go and take them aside, and we're going to do some extra work. So the curriculum basically isn't saying to you, after week 2, we move on from those 3 skills. It is not saying that. It is just saying after week 4, they should be able to throw, catch, and dribble. And you can tick some boxes.
Right.
And say, okay, everybody can do that. Okay, I still have one little boy who can't, so I can do a little work with him. But the rest, we can start to practice maybe the setup, defense, and offense setup, and so forth.
Yeah, it might be more that it tells you when to introduce something.
Exactly. more
because
when to introduce
because
than
we would be
move on,
practicing more than one skill during one practice session. You could, you know what I mean? So it's a thing where you have to still rotate through some of the skills anyways, but you'd say, okay, y'all have to introduce this by then. So, you know what I mean? So we know that, well, if by November you guys can't dribble, we know you guys supposed to be dealing with dribbling since September.
But do you think something like that would help the coaches? If you give them a guideline as to when do we introduce so and so. So by the time the athletes reach secondary school then, you can pick it up and manfully know, okay, these are the new students that came from the primary schools from last September. So this is where we're going to start. Obviously, you're still going to see one or two that really still need a little bit of work. But the fact that you have an idea where to start, because when you go to a primary school, you know that to start from the beginning. But when you go to a secondary school guy, you expect this was a pick up from, well, then when you say, okay, we're going to practice the crossover, pass, and they look like, huh?
Hey, I've dealt with some kids almost in secondary and they couldn't even run properly.
There you have it.
They're skipping, not running.
And so that is where I am thinking for all sports. And we don't have to call it curriculum. We can just call it guidelines.
Guidelines, right.
The guideline policy. To say, you know, by the time they finish primary school, these are what they should be able to do. Even though they can't do it well, they can do them. So that when you go to the secondary school and say, okay, we're running today, everybody know, hey, I can run. Some fast and somewhat, you know everybody can run.
And then what can make it easier for a coach, especially on the secondary level? I think you should have two teams, a development team and, you know, an established team. And that's what I do. So I have that problem where you guys are talk about, because you're going to have players that did not take the game serious in primary school. So they come over now and they're interested in playing in the secondary. And you don't want to turn them away, you know. And that's where you have that development team and you have that Saturday morning program to help them speed up. You know, so that's basically what I do. But you talk about the guidelines. I think we should have a guideline.
But the big question is, no, this is the question. And we can just use curriculum just for the sake of knowing it is a document. Who should put that together?
I think
the coaches.
To me, the coaches should.
The coaches and then the coordinator.
They can overlook,
puts the final touches on it.
But I think the coaches should get more power. They're the one out there. They're the one that have the knowledge, you know.
So obviously, would it be like you're coming down from secondary school? You would probably go and say, listen, when the children come to the secondary school, they can't do X, Y, and Z. So we need to make sure that.
I wanted to make a point before you go any further. You see those basic skills we're talking about? I don't know since when PE didn't give the foundation for a lot of those skills.
But that is where I was going.
Because exactly back in my day, sounds like an old man, PE is where we learn to first dribble and learn to pass and everything. So now when you come to basketball practice now, in the first practice maybe the coach can notice, okay, well some of them can do it better than others. And then go on from there. But as I was saying, one girl couldn't even run properly. I still have big kids that can't skip. If you see them try and skip rope, they can't skip. Some of them, they can't catch the ball. And they're way older than they should be to catch the ball, you know what I mean? And I know a lot, some of them, like for wings, a lot of them, they said the parents don't even let them go outside the house when they're home. Only the brother can go outside and play with the dog because the daughter don't like the dog. So she just in the house all day, right? And thankfully she come to wings because over the 2 or 3 years that we were practicing with her, she turned into one that could dribble, shoot, pass, everything, right? She still have a little attitude, but she could do what we needed her to do.
Here's it, you're complaining about them can't catching a basketball. And I'm dealing with a little round
tennis ball.
Now, is there a disconnect is there a disconnect? Is it that P is going one way and sports? Because as far as I see it, like you mentioned it, P should be the fundamental teaching in terms of you take them out, you run, you jump, you skip, you throw, you catch, you play little games using all the different sports and so forth. So they learn the basics.
Right.
Is it a case that the P teacher should be able to come and say, guy, look, I have two little fellas here. You need to look at them. Now they can catch and they can jump. You understand? And I think you need to look at these two. Should they be the ones telling the coaches which athletes they think should play what particular sports based on the little skill work that
Well, my PE teacher, he's supportive for me in that sense, you know what I mean? So I don't know what the other PE teachers are doing, but I still get kids that can do certain little things.
And
So to me, I think what is that the PE teachers, although we like to look at them within the same frat as us coaches, they're still part of the teaching frat, you know. So they deal with their job with the same frustration that the teachers deal with it, as opposed to us coaches. Because we as coaches, we tend to be more enthusiastic about our day-to-day, you know what I mean? Because we only have limited time with them. We might do 1 or 2 hours with that one group, and then if... Well,
So
like
that's where the PE teacher comes in, as you were saying. Because if you are a cricket coach and an athletic coach, and you walk into the school, the PE teacher should approach you. Say, see that young man? Yeah. He's fast. He can run fast. You see this young man? He can jump high. Maybe he don't know the fundamentals, but he can jump. You know, so these are little details that can help you when it comes to the PE teacher. And as a PE teacher, back then, a PE teacher come to all the sports.
Well, I
They
know
escort the kids and them to all the sports.
Guys
Football,
talk
cricket.
about old school, but I was there when the PE teacher was the thing. There was no coaches.
Right.
We went in as a PE teacher and we were responsible for sports, all the sports. We have to prepare them, we have to take them to the games, and so it was like a hands-on. And even though you were not officially a part of the staff, it seems that way because you interacted with all the teachers. You know what I see now is that the coaches are very distant. The coaches don't even go to the school. Most of them now they just turn up at the facility. And so I think the link should be the PE teacher and the coach should be the ones really and truly connecting to see that the students, because based on the setup that we have, how many schools you have? 3 or 4?
I have 4.
Right, so you can't go to all your games. You have quite a few. Based on what I heard the system was, is that the coaches were supposed to prepare the athletes, and the PE teachers should be the ones taking them to the games. But the PE teachers don't see themselves as teachers, and so they don't want any part of that. And so that is where
Exactly what I was
that is
saying.
where the problem comes in. So how do we fix that?
As I said again, if you are a coach and you're dedicated and you want to have a good program, because me and my coach, my PE teachers, have a good relationship in terms of I'm interested in doing his job and he's interested in doing my job, Kofi James. So we come together and we plan and we say, okay, when it's basketball, he's going to teach them basketball. So he asks me for a few pointers and stuff like that. And when it's cricket, I'm sure some of the times I come and ask you for equipment, I do the same, right? So there's no disconnect between both of us. And, I like my work in relation with my PE teachers and them because most of my PE teachers come to my game. Lorraine Charles, right? Come to my game and she helped coaches. So in case, and I integrate her into my program too, and him, and Miss Carr. So whenever 2 of my team playing, both of the PE teacher coaching, and I'm giving them advice because they know what I'm doing. They know the players and the skill set. Go ahead. They know the skill set and they know my program.
Yeah. But you see, within every school, you always gonna have like 1 or 2 teachers that will support you as a coach. Or it might not even be the teacher. Like, for example, this year, Mrs. Lawrence, who is the principal for Parish Secondary, she was bringing kids to the games for me. You know what I mean? So at Param, I had Miss Murray. She always helped me with organizing the kids and all that. So you will tend to have at least one good teacher at your school that will look out for you as a coach, and you just have to make sure you don't do anything to mess up that relationship, you know what I mean? But realistically, yeah, it probably should be the PE teacher that you have that relationship with, because they would have the most knowledge
Do
of
both
that.
of you think there's enough primary school playing basketball?
No. In my case, I don't have a lot of primary kids in my schools. So that's where the
Are you
problem.
at any primary school?
Yeah?
Do you have any primary school?
I have two primary schools, Param, and I have Nelvi and Gore, formerly known as Willie Keys.
Right.
Right? So Param, I have a lot of participation out of. Nelvi and Gore, I have little participation out of, because the grade 6 class might have 9, 8 children in it. You know what I mean?
How can we make school basketball better? I want you to take 10 seconds and look at it. If you were the coordinator of school basketball, what would you do to make school basketball better?
Well, started from your coaches. You're going to have to provide the things that they need, as I tell my coordinators.
And what things are those?
Equipment and, and all the other support that they're supposed to be given.
So you're talking about balls, talking about
and all clothes and stuff like that. But definitely I would like my coordinator to be a part of my program in terms of coming to the school and make himself known and help with the basketball.
All the schools?
No, not necessarily all the schools, but what I'm saying is, to make school basketball, you have to start with the coaches and let them give them what they want to go to these schools, and it's also upon the coaches to go to the school, make themselves known, be a part of the school program.
We're going to have to come back because our time is almost there. But I want to put something to you.
Mm-hmm.
You have Alton Secondary School.
Mm-hmm.
You have Irene B. Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two secondary
Mm-hmm.
schools. You have John Hughes.
Mm-hmm. Cops Cross,
You
Liberty.
have John Hughes, you have Buckley's.
Mm-hmm.
You have Cobbs Cross, you have Liberta, you have J.T. Ambrose, CV Farm.
CV Farm.
That's 6 secondary schools.
Mm-hmm. Six primary.
6 primary schools, 2 secondaries. Okay. The secondary school can be one program.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it is about time we zone the island and so all of your schools play against each other rather than the free don't have to go to town to play Cops Cross? And do you think it is time we zone it? So you look about your zone, then maybe your champion school
Will
go into the...
Good point. That's one of the things that I've said that too.
Would that work?
It wouldn't work for certain zones because certain zones is bigger than some, and certain coaches only go to secondary school.
No, but you're zoning it. The coordinator and the coaches, you are zoning it. So we're not looking at size, but the zones will be schools.
Right.
Because you can take, for instance, even the south side, and you can say, okay, we're just going to zone the south side up to Jennings, and then maybe Golden Grove can go with what do you call it? But Mary Pickett's and Green Bay and Five Rhino, you can zone it to sort because you're looking at the geographics.
Yeah. But the first thing that I was said when I asked that the manpower is not there
to zone it.
And
how many basketball coaches you have?
How much basketball coaches we have?
Yeah.
8. I think it's 8.
Yeah, around
8 basketball coaches. So if you have 4 zones and you have 2 coaches in each zone, you ever referee any matches?
Yes.
So why can't the referees, why can't the coaches, because we just spoke about this development, it's not about winning. Why can't the coaches referee? Are you going to cheat a little 13-year-old girl?
No, most coaches wouldn't. Most coaches wouldn't.
So maybe what it really needs is a discussion.
Yeah.
Because the thing about it is that based on how we see that Cobbs Cross leaving to go to St. John's to play against Old Road, and who in the community even know that Cobbs Cross have a basketball team? Because they don't play in Cobbs Cross.
Well, there has been discussions here and there where we talked about getting the games happening
in different
in the
communities.
different communities. But then you always have the trouble of the people who they get to referee, they can't travel so far and certain things, this and that.
There's some minor
so
things that
yeah, minor things that really and truly we probably
only
could get
when-
past them, but
Only when
it would take organization. Because maybe there's a couple of guys up in Willie Keys who are perfectly qualified to referee that we just don't know about.
Right.
And if we tapped into them and set them up, however, we could probably say, okay, well, I can now have games out in Willie Keys because we have 2 referees waiting for us out there, so we just have to walk with people to run the scoreboard, and everything is great.
It's just discussion, as you said, and we started it. And you know, a few games come to Liberty and a few games come to Buckley games, and that was it. I mean, I don't know if it's just to keep the public quiet, because at some, sports program was asking why it can't happen, and then it happened for 2 games and then shut off. And I'm sure that I invited you to one of the games, I think, at Buckley.
Yes.
And the atmosphere, you talk to the headmistress, you say, oh, you got to over school, you got to let school over at 2:15 so the kids can watch the game before the bus.
And watch the game.
And
so on.
you know the environment. People in the community come out, start selling popcorn and stuff like that. So stop centralizing basketball and put it in the community.
I think we have to come back. Gentlemen, our time has come and gone. I want to thank you all very, 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 very much. Obviously, the producer is waving me off of his set. We have been speaking to Guy Yearwood Jr. and Oslin Gregory, 2 basketball coaches here in Antigua and Barbuda. They're doing wonderful work, and we want to continue to wishing them well. Hope that you continue getting our young athletes, our young boys and girls, to fulfill their goal. Once again, we want to thank you very much for being with us here today on Coach's View. This is Kenny Benjamin. I just want to wish you a pleasant afternoon, and we'll see you next week. the one now we do.
I'm on here.
You want to come east?
From east.
Johnny, to speak to somebody.
Okay.
So Marcus.
All right, and your bowling, who the bowlers you're depending on?
Our top bowler is Blenton Williams and Jedediah Martin and Orlando Peter Cousin.
All right, well, all the best, Jari, to you and your team in this game. Have a good day. Okay, now we have the captain of the All Saints team, Mr. Kerry Mentor. Kerry, welcome to Parish League Network as we bring live coverage of the Cool and Smooth T20 tournament. I understand that you lost the toss and Jennings is going to bat. What would have been your decision if you had won the toss?
I would have done the same thing. I would have bat. Seeing the pitch is a very good one. I played good last night. I watched the game and it's pretty good. So I would have bat first with the caliber of batsman that we have.
And speaking of the caliber batsman, who are you depending on? Who are you rallying around to give your team that good batting proposition?
Well, myself and you have Casey Carty and Julian, Michael Dover, Larry Joseph. We have a good compiled team. Melvin Charles. We have a good team that batting is right down to the last man.
Okay, and what about your bowling? I guess you'll be looking to defend Jennings, so a gettable total. What do you think would be a gettable total to reduce them to?
Well, 120 the maximum. If you can get them under 100 would be nice. But 120 and not at least run a ball. But we defend. We would get anything that we give them, but we're trying to keep it as minimum as possible.
All right, well, Kerry, all the best to you and your team in this competition and also in this game.
Thank you, sir.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. We're speaking to the two captains for today in the Cool and Smooth T20 tournament. We have the Jennings Tigers, I think they are, yes, and the All Saints Pythons. And so we'll be bringing you some live coverage right here at the Coolidge Cricket Ground of the Cool and Smooth T20 tournament. Yesterday we started, and so today we're going to bring game 3 and 4 to you, and we do hope that you enjoy our coverage.
You miss one?
No, you have to start from there.
Oh. My score, I come?
Well, remember, you don't scope and then.
Oh, okay.
John down.
Shoot.
You might just
1, 2. Sound good, Mark?
Yeah.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, welcome to the Coolidge Cricket Ground, where we're bringing you live coverage of the Cool and Smooth T20 Tournament 2022, and you're watching this cricket live on the Parish League network, on our Facebook page, our YouTube page, and also our Instagram page. And today we are day 2 into the competition, and the first game, the first delivery just been played between the All Saints Pythons and the Jennings Tigers, and so we'll be providing you with some live coverage of this game, and we do hope that you would enjoy our commentary. And I'm joined in studio today by none other than Coach Abdel Hughes, who will be giving his expert analysis of what is transpiring in front of us.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to our viewers and listeners. And we hope to bring the game to you as it unfolds. And I hope your viewing is good and you'll enjoy the game in its entirety.
Well, Coach Hughes, just to bring our viewers up to speed, Jennings Tigers won the toss and they decided to bat. Dari Francis, the vice captain, I understand, he went out and took the toss, and he said to me in an early little interview that their strength is their batting. They have a decent bowling attack, but he believes that their strength is their batting, and that they could put a sizable score on the board and then defend that with their bowlers.
Well, it's good that they know where their strengths are, because many teams are playing and don't know where their strengths or weakness are. They just go and play. So let's hope and see that if his prediction or his strength or weakness really come true in their favor, as All Saints been participating. But this is the 7th year of the Cool and Smooth, John, and All Saints haven't put their name on the trophy as yet. And many other teams are hoping to do so.
And I maybe need to congratulate you. I think you were the first coach who hoisted the Cool and Smooth T20 tournament.
That's it. That's right. That was with the Pickett's Crushers. That was in 2013, beating the Bethesda Eagles. Yeah. And funny, I was the one who took Bethesda to write their name on the trophy 6 years later.
All right, so we're just going to try and get the bowler and the batsman to you, just waiting on the scores. And this one is flashing outside of the off stump and beats the man at wide third man. So the first boundary there, Abdel Hughes, and so 4 runs to the batsman there, number 15 it looks like there. 4 runs to a third man position.
And that was a very poor effort by the fielder down at third man. It looked like a leggy. But in this T20, well, in all cricket, feeling is very important, but mostly with the T20, you got to be sharp, you know, always expecting the ball to come to you. And from the look of things, leggy wasn't expecting that ball a while ago, and the ball just elude him and go for 4. So the end of the first over, all says Pinton is 5 without loss, and they're playing against the All Saints. No, Jennings is 5 without loss, and they're playing against All Saints, who is in the field.
Well, Abdul Hughes, very, so far, not very, I can't say the attendance is very good, very sparsely, extremely sparsely attended. I don't know if we have 20 viewers in the ground at the moment, but I guess most persons still at work, just finishing up their daily routine, and hopefully for the second game, we should see a little bit more attendance from the general public. And so we want to invite everyone to come on down. You got to support the local cricket. The cricketers, you know, they need that support. A lot of times, you know, we don't show that support. But however, you know, when they get that little break, we're all clamoring, oh, that's my guy, and we don't give them the support at this time. But there's a new bowler. He's coming from the
Kerry Mentor.
Kerry Mentor, and that is pulled a lovely square of the wicket, just slightly behind square. And 4 runs there. Still trying to get the name of the batsman for you, so just bear with us. But that was a poor delivery to start that over there, Coach Hughes.
That was a gift. And it was well accepted. And it was easy. And he got to still put it away. He did. And so they move on from by 4 to 9.
You know, Kerry Mentor, you know, maybe 15, 20 years ago, was a very bright prospect for the Antigua team. You know, I think he got a selection to the West Indies B team at one time, but the team didn't travel for some whatever reason, and from that I think his interest kind of waned, but he's still trying to perform on the local circuit, keeping the All Saints team together as the captain of that team.
I don't really think that his interest really waned. It's just the system in which our selectors go about in selecting, and then you get discouraged because of, you know, unfortunately the way they do things. He was selected to the Leeward Island T20 team with Kadim that year, but the other year he was left out, and he really didn't perform that badly. You know, so sometimes you question, and it could affect you as a person. You know, and but I see the Mentor came back with 2 dot balls after that poor gift he gave to the batsman, who has a very high back lift, and he swashes one through the straightest mid wicket for 4. Not much foot movement, just steady and throw the bat into it, and he's a big lad.
Yeah, well, generally T20 cricket, it's about in the early stages with the field restriction. The batting teams try to take advantage of that power play, 6 overs, and so you try to maximize on that. And so these are the sort of shots that you are going to see quite frequently, especially in the power play mode.
Yeah, but I still want to see that foot movement. Cricket remains the same. Play the same shot, get your foot to the ball. You easily dispatch the ball when you're in control of the ball.
Yeah, well, and you're correct from a coaching perspective, but I think most of our younger batsmen, you know, I remember in doing one of our shows, the Talking Parish League show every Thursday afternoon, and one of our guests had suggested that they stop showing highlights to the younger players.
Yeah.
Because when you watch the highlights, you only see the ball sailing for 6 and
Right.
and 4s, and so you believe that's what cricket is about.
Right.
And not recognizing, and this one is shot again and is pulled in front of square, but this time there's a man out there providing coverage, and so they limit them to 1. And so yes, so he was saying, hey, don't show highlights to these youngsters because they will think that's what cricket is about. And so yes, so a lot of guys just believe cricket is just about hitting that ball out of the park over the top in the power play overs.
Yes, and I agree with that, whoever that person was in making that suggestion, because even I can go as further to say, even on YouTube, they will see the end product of the Tendulkars, the Kohli, the Safiv, and think that it just comes overnight, you know. But it's the hard work that they put in that they could play the way they're playing. But these youngsters, they just see that and want to go out and execute that. It's very hard to do, so you got to practice what you want to do.
Most definitely. So 2 overs in the bag, and we do apologize for not being able to provide the scores at the moment. Scorers are just having some technical difficulties. We're not right next to the scorers. So just bear with us as we try to get a live feed and update on the scores, and definitely we will be providing the scores for you.
14
Okay, well, I'm seeing here, yeah, 14 after 2 overs. So a decent start by the Jennings Tigers. And the 2 opening batsmen, we're just going to try and get their names for you shortly. And the bowler coming from the Pavilion N.
Yes, the 2 games played last night, John, and Liberta really, as a defending champion, they really hammer home their statement. Played against New Winchips Lions. They scored some 198.
I think it was, yes.
Yeah. Kofi James got 77. And I was mostly impressed with Huey Smith. I've never really seen him in that aggressive mode. And it's good when you could see that tempo come out of that. For instance, a 2-day game to transfer into. And I was impressed with that innings more so than Kofi. We know what Kofi can do, but it's good to see that when a full ball that was a gift. And again, because his foot wasn't no way, he just stepped there and threw the bat, and he didn't capitalize on an easy gift. We've seen Melvin Charles, that's number 12, playing for our Saints. Thought he was playing for Empire.
Well, Coach Hughes, I'm telling you, one of the things I've noticed with our players, man, it's like a lottery pick. They just shuffle around and around and around. And there's a chance, a good single. Whoa, that's hitting the stump. Half-hearted appeal, but the batsman would have made it in quite easily. Yes, Coach Hughes, our players, I'm telling you, sometimes I watch the scorecard, even in our own Parish League circuit. I'm saying, boy, this is like a lottery picket, boy. These lottery pick, these players, they just bounce from team to team to team. Yeah. But I guess if you look at the positive, hey, they just want to play cricket, and wherever there's an opportunity, they're going to take it.
But as study refer to them as cricket prostitute. And again, it's allowed by the teams or the clubs. There's nothing in place to cement them to stay with you, because you know that loyalty, and so they've been allowed to move around because of that, you know.
And you know, one of the discussion. Okay, so just got an update. So the batsman that just got that single there, fortuitous single looks like, is Kyle KB, and we have George Munson. He's from New Zealand. Yeah. Okay, I thought it was Scotland. Okay, so he's from, I think it's Scotland.
Okay.
Yeah, he's from Scotland. So wow, Coach Hughes, you know, good to see we have international players a part of our domestic league, and hopefully it should help. And that's a wild swing, just putting his foot down, not really coming across to the line, just planting his foot down and just having a whiff. But it's good to have the overseas players. We do hope that they will be able to uplift the standard that, you know, our local guys would produce, and I think that would be the aim of having these guys being a part of your tournament.
Yeah, hoping that they could uplift them, but what I was seeing so far from him is not too much upliftment. His foot is not close to the ball, and he's just throwing. We want to see cricket shots being played, When you look around, even in the IPL, you're still seeing the Kohlis, even though he's struggling this year, is a good, and the Kane Williamson is a good cricket shot that you see that really attracts you. Than to just this woofing at the ball, you know.
Well, that's another discussion which we could continue to hold, but I think when you call those names, I think you're being unfair to quite a lot of cricketers. These cricketers, those names that you call, those are in a different class all to themselves, and so it's a bit difficult to have them. But after 3 overs, 16 runs on the board, so not a very explosive start by the Jennings Tigers, and all Saints, they'll be looking to take a wicket, but it's Mentor as he continue from the Airport Road end, and there was KB having a slash outside of the off stump and getting a bottom edge, and the man from the slip region just cutting it off there. So 17, the score goes up to 17. So ladies and gentlemen, we are here at the Coolidge Cricket Ground, formerly the Stanford Cricket Ground, and Coach Hughes, you know, this ground, you know, a lot of us get excited with the IPL, but my memory, you're a little more than me, but my memory tells me this is the venue where T20 cricket started globally.
Oh, yes.
And so, you know, we all get excited about the IPL and we say it has transcended cricket. But I've always said that this ground, you know, is the benchmark. And there's a wild slug outside the off stump getting an outer part of the bat. And it will run into the back of the point boundary for 4 runs there.
Yeah, this ground is the historic ground for T20. I mean, the excitement was just buzzing. I couldn't believe that I was witnessing things like that in Antigua. It was out of this world. To me, even though I'm seeing the massive crowd in India, it still cannot replace the feeling and the vision that I saw here, live.
Most definitely. And Mentor now just losing his line, trying to bowl a little straighter there, but straying down the leg side and wide signal by the umpire. So yes, Abdel. I mean, when we look across to our left here, I mean, it's Spa now. Nothing is happening over there, but that was also a big entertainment hub.
Oh yeah.
I think Derek Pretty Boy Edwards had splashed one into that swimming pool, if I'm not mistaken.
And Kyron Pollard.
Yes.
Powell. Yes. At 18-year-old at the time.
Yes.
Yeah, and incentive was given for that type of explosion. You know, he just sits down there and
I think there was a clock right above us here, and if you had hit it, you'd get 100,000 or something like that. Yes, it was.
it was encouraging.
It was encouraging. It was a brainchild. It was the advent of T20 cricket, you know, and we should still feel proud. Yes, there was some circumstances behind of it, but at the end of the day, you know, I would say, and it also was the mother, the birth of a lot of our cricketers who transcended into T20 juggernauts.
Yes, you're perfectly correct. I mean, you see the Pollard, who's just retired now from international cricket, and he started right here, and we also see
beautiful catch there. That's a beautiful catch there by the wicketkeeper. There was KB just slashing outside of the off stump again. Coach used not much foot movement, and the keeper just flying to his right and gloving it with one hand.
Yeah, it was a good catch in the end, but you made mention of the international players coming and hope they could lift our standard, but I'm not really too impressed with what I've seen so far of both batters. You know? But really and truly, if you're coming to add flavor to what's there, you know, and just come to participate.
But isn't that the same challenge we have in our local football too?
Yes.
Some of the players that we're bringing in, displacing our local, are they really bringing any value? Or should we just spend the time and invest and uplift our
very good observation. I totally agree with you. It's very same thing, and then you have also the argument, and then the clubs mash up because who's coming is not that excited, is not that better than who is there. But we're so happy to get people from overseas to say that they come from, let's say, Jamaica, or they come from Grenada, to think that it could boost your team. But most times it's not too beneficial. And honestly, my honest opinion, I'm not impressed with what I've seen with both openers.
Well, when I looked at the the draft, I was pretty happy to see that Liberta had opted out, not taking part. Or
And Rising Sun.
And Rising Sun. Okay, I thought it was New Wintraps. Okay, Rising Sun. I am just one who just believe in the local talent. But back to this game, Abdel. All Saints, they would feel pretty good getting a wicket. Jennings so far has not gotten away, and the new batsman that looks like Orlando Peters, and he has been another one that has been around. Abdel, maybe most would say have not fulfilled on the promise and the potential that we anticipated. And so, what would be his psyche in a tournament like this? What would be, for a player of that caliber, that experience, what would be his psyche? What would he be looking forward to in a tournament like this?
Well, first of all, to stamp his authority back to where it was, or put himself back to where it was, because I remember it was the same cool and smooth tournament that was playing at Sir Viv when Marlon Samuel saw him playing in innings and find out, investigate who is he, and then he was drafted into the
Hawks Bill.
Into the Hawks Bill. So just go and play cricket. He knows what to do. But as I keep on asking you, John, even in the weekend commentary, how are those guys training? You can't just turn up and because my name is so and so, the ball is going to come into my bat. You got to be training. You got to be practicing to be able to get your foot to the pitch. Instead of playing hand-eye coordination, and just left to be desired as to how well are they training as a team.
Well, the bowler there looks like Caesar, if I'm seeing right. Yes, Caesar Junior. Yes.
Okay.
Looks a little bit plumb. He comes in.
Yeah. Look.
That was a soft. I felt the fielder could have been a little bit more purposeful with the throw. I guess he didn't want to take any chances. Threw it a bit soft. Chance for a run out there. So now our scoreboard is up. We can give it a name. So we have Muncie. He's on 16 not out, and Peters, who just joined him, he is yet to get off the mark. Kerry Mentor so far has bowled 2 overs, 16 runs, and he has taken the lone wicket. And Martin Caesar, I think the name of his name is Martin Caesar. He has 2.1 overs, 7 runs. So All Saints sticking with their pace duo for the power play thus far. This one is nicely driven. Abdel, we got to give All Saints some credit here. This is about the second or third time that Munson has played that drive, and they've had that fieldsman placed perfectly for him. So they probably have done their scouting, knowing his strength, or whether if this is their bowling plan, I don't know. But you got to give All Saints some credit in that field placement there.
What if we say as an opener, as an overseas player, bring in this professionalism to our local cricket? That we're not seeing him delaying the shot or opening the face somewhat, instead of playing the ball straight to the field at all times. And there is a this one again. He just tugged it very. I mean, John, he could go on and get a 50, but the way in which he playing, even how he's running, He's not really giving me that impetus that
Well, I understand from a coach's perspective you're going to be, extremely critical, but it's the first match. Maybe he hasn't played any cricket in quite a bit.
What?
I don't know. I'm just saying maybe he hasn't. So the rust is still there. Maybe he's just trying to work it off. So let's just watch and see how this one pans out.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, you were saying give Alton some credit. Okay, whatever credit they deserve, I won't take it away from them. But then, as an overseas player or professional player, you're hitting the ball straight to this guy and not scoring. Why don't open the face on contact and play it a bit wider of the fielder? Let him have to run and get a single than to hitting it so hard and get a dot ball.
So the end of another over, And so we have completed 5 overs, and the score is 24 for 1, so just a tad under 5 runs and over. And so the 4.8. And so Muncie, he's 17 not out. Peter's yet to get off the mark. We have 1 extra so far. So far, Coach, I think all Saints would feel that they would have had the better of the exchanges in the first quarter of this innings.
I think so too. Even with the Monty who got some balls there to be scored off and didn't score, so Arthur would have gotten the best part of this power play. And with the bulky and the size of the Monty, we'll be seeing some balls sailing over the boundaries. But this one is hit through the covers nicely this time for 4.
Well, look who's bowling now. That looks like Owen Graham. Again, another player just jumping from, well, let me not use those terminology, but jumping from team to team. And my understanding was he had decided to take a hiatus from cricket, but I guess the T20 tournament, one of the most lucrative tournaments in our local calendar of cricket events, and so I guess he has had some. He plays for Seaview Farm. Okay, so my understanding is he does play in the Parish League circuit, and he plays for the Seaview Farm team. So Owen Graham is back again, another bright prospect in his days. Abdel, I really thought if it's one player that could have adapted to the T20 circuit going up would have been Owen Graham. He was very aggressive. He was a tidy all-rounder, and I felt with the right attitude, environment, I always felt that he could have really oh, that's terrible fielding there. That should have been a better effort there by the fielder Martin Caesar there. And so 4 runs there to the batsman there. Yeah, but Graham, Abdel, as I said, I believe he was one of the bright prospects in the early days.
Yeah, and take nothing away from him. He's very clever in his bowling. He can be very sharp from that few steps, and then he has very good slow delivery. So Monty, have to look for that,
That's cleverly played. I was just angling into the batsman there, and he just kept his shape and just helped it along the fine leg region, and 4 good-looking runs, beating the man at the short fine leg region.
Yeah, that was a better shot, and Caesar has no chance in that to stop that one. But yeah, Graham, when he was Graham, as I said on the weekend, he's now brown ham. He's no longer grey, and he showed that impetus that he could have gone to the next level. Was scoring really prolific in the league. But it didn't happen. It's again pulled to back of the square.
That's a hat trick of boundaries there.
Yes.
So Graham is getting a good welcome back. Well, not good for him, but a welcome back into the cool and smooth T20.
Yeah, but to be fair, he scored off with the 3 balls that were down the leg side, right? But again, there were anyone could pull, anyone can swing that through the onside. Let him hit the ball down. Let him see what he's made of. Yeah? But give him credit. He got 3 4 back to back. And so our Saints move on out to Jennings move on to 40 off of winning the 6th over. So this over has been very productive for Jennings and Monty.
And he goes wide outside the off stump, but Muncie is equal to him.
No.
That's clobbered right back over the bowler's head. And a massive 6, first maximum for the innings there, Abdelius. And so Muncie is getting his groove on here.
Yeah, and in a very positive way too. He played a shot through covers for 4, but I think I'm more impressed with that last 6 because it was, he held his shape and he plays it pretty well, and he got maximum. So some 18 runs from the over.
Yeah, it was 25. No, 21. It was 25 after 5, so 21 runs would have been added in that over.
Yes.
So looks a little bit more respectable at the end of the power play. 6 overs, 46 runs, and Muncie, he moves on to 39.
Yeah, even Caesar. I know he got in that he put some weight on, but I was while he was bowling, I said he looked like Caesar, but I thought it was an overseas player they brought in. But when he was just, think he was just leaving combined school era, he showed some sign also of, getting to the next level. But as I said, always boils down to how are you training? How are you training? You may show some glimpse of promise, but how are you preparing to get to the next level? Left a lot to desire.
Well, I mean, it's something that you and I have spoken of, and I have even spoken about it quite a bit on our show on Thursday afternoons, in that over the past maybe 10, 12, 15 years, we have definitely seen quite a few talent coming out of our local cricket, but what we have not been able to see is that progression to the next level. I remember T. Willie going down to, I think it was Trinidad, and was one of the better players in the under-19 tournament there, and we all had high hopes for T. Willie, and now we don't even hear much of T. Willie. Well, there's a new bowler now coming from the pavilion end, and that one is just turned into the onside for a single. So
that's Larry Joseph.
Larry Joseph. So All Saints now going to spin after the completion of the power play, so they're more, can provide a little more coverage for the bowler, and so they're going into spin. Well, let's say good evening, Abdel, to Jaman Roberts. You know, he's always in tune with us when we're providing our commentary, and Jaman is saying here, good evening, guys. It's 9:30 p.m. here in London town, and hoping to see two good games tonight. Well, we're with you with that, Jaman, and we're hoping to really bring you two interesting, exciting game. Thus far, I guess we could say even Stevens after that last over, and so let's see how Jennings will continue, more so how Muncy continue this aggressive nature, or will he just play within himself for the next couple of overs and then look to relaunch after?
Now, as you look at Orlando versus Monty when he started, singles, as we keep on saying, is the hardest thing to get in a cricket game.
Oh, that's a chance. That was a full toss and hit straight back at Joseph. He's a little bit powerful, but Joseph would tell himself that's an easy catch, and he floated it. So a chance going down there, Coach Hughes.
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in. Well, he's a bit aged now, but the Larry Joseph that I know, he would have taken that, But again, some age keeps on you, and then you can't react as fast as the ball. I think this keeper.
Oh, the 50's up for Jennings. And he's going for the reverse. There's a chance he will take a catch. Oh, another chance. Looks like going down. A chance for a run out. And another miss. So a comedy of errors, I would say. There was a chance here by Mentor. I really thought Mentor would have had that. He went for the reverse sweep, Abdel, and got the back of the bat lobbed up. And there was Mentor scoring, but couldn't hold on to it.
Earlier talking about the running between the wicket by Monty and the other opener, and he's continuing again, not very vigilant as to when the single is on and when it's not on. And luckily he got back. Well, there was a mistake by the keeper, didn't gather it, and so he was lucky to survive and to be there.
So at the end of over number 7, Jennings Tigers winning the toss and elected to bat. They are 51 for 1, and so I would say even Stevens thus far, Coach Hughes.
Yeah, even Steven. Both teams can be satisfied of their position, and 7 overs is the best team win. We just see Rakim Cornwall and Nino Henry and Django just roll in, and before the games between between the Winthrop Lion and Liberta Hawks, they both were giving chat to each other. They were in the room when Rakim called me from St. Kitts, and they were both in the room, and who's gonna do what and who's gonna do what, and so Nino, the captain, got his skin scrubbed last night. But one positive you can look on, he has 2 more games to win. But that was a real beating last night.
All right, want to big up Myron James. He's saying, good afternoon, guys. Good to have you, Myron, on board. I think Myron is in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Paraman umpire in his right for years in Antigua.
I think he's actually continuing the trade. We had him on Zoom
Okay.
a couple of months back, and I think he's still providing that umpiring skill set. But there's the gentleman you spoke about earlier, Melvin Charles, it looks like.
Yes.
And again, speaking about another prospect, Abdel, a couple of years back, he was also touted as a prospect coming out of the system, and again, just falling off. Even our own Kofi James. He was touted earlier on. He did go up a bit, but he regressed. He's trying to push his head back up. But, something is definitely wrong with our local system. We're not able to germinate these talent to higher standards.
It's very well played by Lando Peter. Just open the face of the bat, and it runs down to third man for 4. Now, yes, and I agree with you, and I was very concerned as a coach with the upward progression of our young talent, right? And it's just something that probably you can't put your hand on, because it left with the player and then the system, and if both are not working, you're gonna have that one was well run. Very well run.
With a cheeky single, All Saints made a little adjustment. They had 2 men now behind the square for Peters. He repeated the shot, and they ran through for a quick single. Hey, we want to say good afternoon to Carol. Carol, good afternoon. Haven't seen you in a while. Come on, we need you up at the stadium to handle one of these cameras, Carol, to give us a little boost here. But good to have you on board, Carol, one of our ardent listeners and followers on the Parish League network.
That's a very good shot. That's a very, very good shot.
I was hit straight.
And it's more right hand into the shot than the top hand. So he just slotted it, but it was hit straight, and the result was 4. And so Monty moves on to 46.
46, yes.
Score 6-1. That one was nicely played also. Tap it down to a wide long on, and he just walks, basic jog a single. But the difference between Monty and Lando Peters, he looks more like a power hitter, and Lando, who is just working the ball into the gaps, still looks totally different, So sometimes the runs is not what matters to me as a coach. Is the appearance at the crease, how you look. Yeah, anyone can score runs, John. You could be there, and no one know how you're playing the ball, could be coming off the edge or you're slashing. But runs is runs, what people will say. But then the next man will come and hitting the ball through the gap, looking at singles, and look more competent than that scorer who will have 50. But it's how you score your runs what really count for me.
It's Larry Joseph again, and this one is going down wide. I think Munson has got into Larry Joseph head a bit, because he's giving himself some room, and so Larry's trying to follow him, but this time Munson stood his ground, and he darted it down the leg side. But Coach Hughes, I'm also looking at the All Saints bowling so far, and he's giving himself some room and slashing off on outside, should be caught, and he's caught there in a point position there, just around that.
Yeah.
And so Larry Joseph getting the final word on him. He dropped him in the last over, but this time giving himself just a bit too much room and coming off of the outer half of the bat.
Yeah, he got what, 46?
47.
Played some good shot in between, but I'm not impressed, John. Even that shot he played, you're already set. When you get the opportunity to open, if you don't get a good ball, you shouldn't out. You're already set. You let the other teams batter around you. What happens with Liberta? They had a foundation, and then Kofi Hugh was there for a while wicket was falling. You know, so that way you want to see. You don't want wicket to be falling from both ends. Two opener gone, then two man have to come and start over. But Munson, I really wasn't impressed. Hit some good strong shots, but that's about it.
Well, obviously, you look at it. You look at his build. You can see it's a power hitter. That's what I saw. Yeah. I mean, as you said, he played some good shots. Didn't look he didn't look fluent in his innings, but he'll have some other opportunities, and I'm sure he'll try to do a lot better. But I'm coming back to the All Saints. I'm looking at the bowling thus far, and I am not. They haven't done too badly, but I'm not overly impressed with the bowling from what I'm seeing, and so. I mean, they're really going to need to be very, very tight in their bowling if they're going to really tie down these teams going forward. But the bowling doesn't look penetrative, doesn't really look like it's going to create too much of trouble, in my view.
I agree with you. There's no Azari either. They normally bank on Ramjan, but they always pick him out of the dungeon when there's T20, which always a chance to me, you know. But he's no longer in this tournament. I presume they will turn to Casey Carty to give them some overs. But it's not a good bowling attack for what I'm saying. Even from the onset, when I see Kerry open the first, there's a fumble down on the long off fence by Caesar, and the new batter is.
Is that Adrian Barron?
Adrian Barron, yeah.
Well,
it's a little on the big side also. The tummy is a bit.
Yeah, I don't think he needs much introduction. Well, not to the local fans. We all know he's no nonsense player, and so for those who are watching us all around the globe, you know, it's indeed a pleasure to have you on our Parish League network on our Facebook page, Antigua Parish League network here, and so I'm here with Coach Abdel Hughes and we're locally, okay, so we're coming to locally on Channel 8, CTV Channel 8. So, again, the Parish League Network bringing you live coverage of the Cool and Smooth T20 tournament right here at the Mecca, the home of T20 cricket. I don't care y'all think about Wankindi Stadium and Poon. Well, at that time it was called the Stanford Cricket Ground, but it's the Coolidge Cricket Ground, and this is the Mecca. This is the home of T20 cricket. And it's good to see the Cool and Smooth tournament come in here. You know, normally it's at the Saviv. Yeah. But good to have it here.
Yeah, a different venue, different look, more enclosed than the stadium was more, you know, widely scattered. But the Jennings team is going to lie heavily on Londa Peters to take them through the 20 overs. Adrian Barron, even though he used to play for the Crushers, he's one of the player who will just hit the ball in the air out of nowhere. You know, when he connects, he does really travel, but it's not a.
In local parlance, Coach Hughes, and to our listeners, we call that a hit and miss.
Yeah.
He'll hit some, but he'll miss quite a few too.
Yes.
But it's Larry Joseph. You'd feel good getting the wicket of Munson there. And that one is nicely played. That was pure time in there. Pure time in there, Coach Hughes.
That's just class. Very, very well played. Just got to the pitch. That's what I was saying with Monty. He's not getting to the pitch of the ball. He's just throwing his bat to the ball with hand-eye coordination. But Lando got to the pitch and he works the ball wide of long on for a beautiful 4.
So we have now completed 8 overs in the bag. The score is 70 for 2. So that tells me our scoring rate is about 8 points, point something.
And they're going really good. The Jennings scoring is good. You know, at one point it was a balanced playing field when it was about 7 overs, but that one over by Graham changed the whole fortune. Got some 21 runs from that.
So Melvin is going to continue. But Coach Hughes, in terms of the wicket, so far for the tournament, how have you? Well, it looks like they're using a different strip today. Then I wasn't here last night. As a wide delivery. Same strip? Okay, so the same strip, I'm being told. How have you found the wicket playing so far in the tournament?
Well, be honest, when Bethesda started, I didn't see how the wickets were falling. So I really couldn't say it was bad shot, the wicket was holing or whatever. But when Bethesda was bowling, the wicket was really carrying. You know, and the Crushers struggled to score 110. They lost some 8 wickets, but the wicket was good when the Bethesda were bowling. So I don't know how. I couldn't really give you an assessment as to when Bethesda were batting.
All right, so that's a single to Orlando Peters, short wide outside the off stump, and he just slapped it in front of square there. That's nicely played there by Adrian Barron. He's normally a power hitter, but he used a little finesse there. Coach uses getting inside the line and turning that down to a fine leg position for 4 runs.
And that is very weak link side of him. He doesn't really flick easily. I don't know about it better. One ball could, if you go fishing, Mark, and you catch fish, you're not a fisherman. You're just not a fisherman. You're lucky to catch a fish. You know. But I could tell you that you come in front of him. I could tell you he couldn't hit you down there, but down the leg side is and this is Adrian who's trying to give himself some room and trying to run and slipped in the process, and London turned him back, and he was struggling, trying to pull himself on his behind to get in.
I think his bat got between his pad and tripped him up. I think that's what really transpired there. But so far, good over. Well decided about, and there you talk about it. It's high. I don't think it has the legs.
It has it,
and it does. Yes, it does.
That's him. That's Adrian Barron. You know, so that doesn't surprise me. What would surprise me is the flicking or the, but he's still there, and Ginny's will be hoping that they could give Jennings a good total to Arsene to chase. Casey Carty will be there, and Kerry. With this one is Adrian is trying to prove me wrong. This one is working off his pad, but they got one.
Coach Hughes, this one is for you. I don't know what is coming out of this. Freeston, Ireland is saying Abdel Hughes, me no concern. I don't know if you.
That's a very good friend of mine.
All right.
That came about years ago. He was scoring, a little lad. He was scoring for Empire, and I went and asked him to score as a player. And I said he was answering. I said, I asked him what's the score. He said, me the concern. And from that. Way back then.
That has been your exchange tagline.
Yeah.
So we're halfway through the innings, and it's 10 overs in the bag, 84 for 2. So I believe Jennings is feeling pretty good about it. And in the wicket at the moment, we have Orlando Peters. He's just about, I would say, set. And Adrian Barron, as we are all aware, he is just going to have a swing at it. So Graham, it looks like the skipper has changed him. He's now coming from the pavilion end, as George Munson had really took a liking to him. Probably, I think 21 runs came from his first over there.
Yeah, so again, despite the 21 runs came out of his first over, he's a very tricky bowler, so he can still pick up or still go for 30,
No, Graham kind of, I mean, I know I might get some words thrown at me, but Graham kind of reminds me, or I don't know, I think he was around before Ben Stokes, but he has that sort of
knock to get a wicket.
Personality. They are aggressive in the game.
Nature.
In the nature,
Right.
And they have that all-round ability. They could bat, they could bowl, and I just, that's something I've always admired when it comes to Owen Graham. And here is Adrian again playing out a character a bit, playing a little finesse, just steering that in front of square there. But Coach Hughes, we have to speak a little bit also of, we learned about the T20 tournament and, the players get this opportunity. But, all of this is possible through the fine folks of Cool and Smooth. And we really have to, give some kudos to Cool and Smooth. 7 years and counting, not only talking, not only say they love sport, but they're putting their money behind of it. And, their commitment. And, I can't even find the words to really laud them and give them the praise and the congratulations for their input into local cricket development.
Yes, and not only cricket. They really put them out where the pocket where their mouth is when it comes to sport. The basketball, netball, whatever the case is when it comes to sport. Yes. But we're hoping that we could have seen some more local businesses patronize that. Now, take on a tournament and hold it by the horn, and as well ball again, well played. Just like ACB, whole Parish League for 44 years and counting. You'd like to see things like that locally here going forward.
Yeah, it's just I remember we had I'm trying to remember his name, Ken Hurst. No, it's Ken Hurst. Mark, was it Ken Hurst? We had the former president of the ABCA. I know he's a Hurst, but I don't remember his first name. But we had him on the show, a couple of when Pat Evanson had died. Houghton Isaac. Oh yeah, I keep saying Hurst. Houghton Isaac. We had Houghton Isaac on the show.
Yeah.
And Houghton spoke about him using his influence and getting quite a lot of businesses to support the cricket. And some similar to what you're talking about. We need more than Cool and Smooth.
Right.
We need the flows. We need the digitals. We need the food brokerages. We need the dues. We need, we need a conglomerate. I don't know. I don't know if it's a sporting council that can get these companies to invest into sports, and then you could probably have a disburse into the different sporting discipline. I don't know how. I'm just speaking off my head what can work, but I just think we need a little bit more corporate involvement from corporate Antigua, to help our sports along. But there's going to be a new bowler here from
Casey Carty.
Casey Carty. Yeah, another promising one. I know Taddy speaks very highly of him. And Taddy probably, is saying that the system probably is working against him. And this one is driven, and a good stop there by Graham. That's what Graham gives you, Coach Hughes, a half chance. He tried to make it into a chance, and he was able to stop it.
He just, as he says, it's a Ben Stoke.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good description. He's a hard cricketer, gives his all. But then not fully Ben Stokes, because Ben Stokes will really struggle with spin. But you could bowl all you want with the fast ball and Owen Graham. And that's a no ball.
High one, and yes, the umpire signaled no ball, so that definitely was above the waist. I think Casey probably was trying to slow delivery there. Come out of his grip there.
So yeah, you could be running off and bowling to Graham, and he like that. The moment you stand up by that stump, his brain triggers different, and he's not staying there.
That was a free hit, but not much damage done there. Just good bowling by Carty, limiting the batsman to a single.
We're seeing Winston Benjamin is giving his service to his village where he's from. I don't know if it's just for the T20, but he is working along Musai Thomas.
I think I see Danny Benjamin there on the sideline, another ardent supporter.
He's a manager.
Oh, he's the manager. Okay, the manager. So, a lot of times these guys don't get a lot of mention, a lot of credit. The backroom staff, we see the players and we laud the players, but we also have to recognize. That's well bowled and sound like a big appeal. I did hear a knock here, Barron was quick to point out that it was his pad, his thigh pad, but in international cricket, I think they frown on that sort of approach. You don't
Yeah.
stop the umpire like that, huh?
And it's Saturday, and the Parish League preview. I was hearing Taddy was making mention of Hillary Andrew. Earl was saying he's a good prospect, and he said, yeah, he wanted to make another 100 after the 112 he made, but I have to discipline him because he was questioning my umpires.
Oh, Hilroy Andrew.
Yeah. Yeah,
But Abdel, we're starting to see a little trickle of spectators coming in, as we said, persons getting off of work, and so, they're coming in. Oh, and this one is clobbered. I think he was expecting that, Abdel.
It
He
looks that
made
way.
some room, and that sat up, and he clobbered that. There has to be a new ball. I don't think anybody's going
that
to...
really hits over the sticky wicket, the restaurant.
Yeah, man.
There was a good hit. Cemento is going around to see if he could locate it, but
Yeah, the umpires
they
have
probably
called him
have
back.
to change it.
Yeah, the umpires have called him back. That ball is a memory. Well, Coach Hughes, I am going to be leaving you shortly. I got another engagement, and I'm going to try and get back for the second game. So I'm going to be leaving shortly. So viewers, remember, we are coming to you live on the Parish League Network, our Facebook page, and we're also coming live on Channel 8, on CTV Channel 8. And so Coach Hughes will be carrying through with the commentary as I'm going to take a little exodus for a short while. So it's going to be, let's see what would be the response by Casey Carty. And he's swinging again and just dropping short of the man there on the long off position. And so it looks like if after getting hit there, Casey Carty hit him with a short ball there. Barron in local parlance again would say, boy, me not take that. Me come back at you. So Coach Hughes, after over number 12, the score moves up to 97 for 2. So good going thus far. Current rate of 8.08. Barron is on 23, Peterson 16, extras 5, and so we have a further 8 overs to come, and we will see what Jennings could muster here. So Coach Hughes, I'm going to step out for a bit, take over the commentary.
Okay, John, until you come again, all the best and safe on the road. But as we watched Graham continue to, this ball is coming off the bottom part of the bat down to third man, and they run a single. And so the score moves on by 1 to 97 or 98 for 2. Jennings batting against All Saints Spartans. As we watch the field for Graham, there's a short third man, back with a square, man on a deep mid-wicket fence. This one is tapped down to a long off by Lando Peters, and they run a single. To complete the field, there's a long off and there's a long on, extra cover on the fence. And now the field being changed because of Adrian Barron, left-hander. Ball him, slow delivery, told John about it, he's a tricky bowler, and he plays way before his time, and the ball trickles into the middle stump, and so Adrian Barron go for